What is up, everyone? It's that time again. You're listening to It's Been a Week. I'm your host, Ben McDonald, and this is your weekly dose of whatever the hell just happened. Okay, everyone. This week, I'm joined by my friend Greg, and I'm so excited you're here, honestly, because I need more straight men on this podcast.
Yeah, well, you're welcome.
Yeah. I mean, I actually think the only other straight person I had on here was like Rawson.
Yeah, he's a good
The
one.
rest is, yeah, he's a good one. The rest have been females, gay, or definitely questionable.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
How's your week been?
It's been wild. We had a new baby 2 weeks ago, our first son after we got a 3-year-old daughter. So it's been nice to welcome Ro to the world.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So a lot of, just kind of getting used to the new normal at home with 2 kids.
It's crazy how fast, like, I feel like Melissa was pregnant for Melissa's his wife, everyone, by the way. I feel like she was pregnant for like a month. Like, it just was like the snap. I mean, it probably felt a lot longer for you guys, but for me, I'm like,
it was a month. He was 8 months early.
No, but
Yeah.
It did. It was like I found out she was pregnant, and then it's like, oh, she's giving birth next week. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. Well, it felt a lot longer for us, but
I imagine, yeah.
but
But
it
now
was
you have
nice.
a boy and a girl.
Boy and a girl, 3 years apart. Melissa very overwhelmed with now 3 December birthdays between me, our daughter, and our son.
Oh shit,
But yeah,
you're all in December.
we're all in December. Us
And Christmas.
Casey. Yep.
It's going to be an expensive month for the young family.
The 3 of us and Jesus are all, December babies.
Blessed be.
What is your Jesus Christ December as well?
I believe so. I mean, I guess I don't really know what religion I identify with.
No, you're didn't you have an animal named
Oh yeah, our goats.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have Jesus and Christ.
Right.
Yeah, they were funny story about that. So when we got here, we got goats, which I was like, why do we need goats? When all AJ wanted was goats, I was like, well, I can't refuse him the one thing he wants after I just moved him across the country so that I could like ride horses. So we go buy these goats from some man, like literally he lived in a trailer and the goats were like in his front yard. And a few months later, we had some guys here doing some construction work and they were like, oh, that goat's about to give birth. And I was like, excuse me? And he goes, your goats are pregnant. And I go, what? And so I called the man who we bought the goats from and he was like, yeah, I told you they were all pregnant. I go, okay, but you didn't. Like, what the fuck? So Christmas morning, we walked out to the barn and all of a sudden there's these 2 baby goats. And I was like, holy shit, it's an immaculate conception. I was like, so we have Jesus and Christ.
Laying in the manger.
Yeah. So the mom is now Mary. And then AJ goes out there and he's like, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ.
It's so good.
But they were actually born on Christmas.
Yeah.
So the name felt fitting. Well, so what's crazy is that this podcast is like a year old now. And I remember last year when I did the first episode and I was so excited and it was like, I think even the first episode I told everyone, this is going to be comedy and this is going to be funny and it's all going to be whatever, which it kind of morphed into, it's comedy, but there's definitely like heavier moments or more serious moments or whatever. But I'll never forget, it was the second episode was about to come out. And all of a sudden, there was these crazy fires happening in California. And for me, I'm like, okay, I'm going to put this funny episode out. Meanwhile, like not only my friends, thousands of people's houses are burning down to the ground. Yeah. And you guys lived in the Palisades and you were amongst one of these people who pretty much lost everything.
Yeah. I remember too. I remember the night before, I guess it was January 6th, as the fire started on the 7th. We got a text from, I think it was you and AJ, talking about and you guys are in Texas, talking about these California winds that we're about to pick up in the Santa Monica Mountains and in the Palisades, asking, hey, I hope you guys are okay. And Melissa and I are sitting there thinking, it's going to be windy, it's dry, whatever, and not really thinking much of it. And then, the next morning it was crazy. We were both at home and got some alerts about a fire and we could literally see the first flames from our front yard. And we realized that was, obviously with the winds the way they were, it was not going to be good. So we started packing up to get out of there. Obviously the rest was history. Our house, long story short on that, it's still standing, but it's one of maybe 5 or 6 on our whole block that didn't burn down. And both directions, both sides of us, the homes are gone. All of our stuff is ruined, all the, insurance madness that comes with it. So we haven't lived there obviously, and we won't for a while, but, it was pretty crazy.
So that night you started getting alerts.
The morning of.
The
The night before, the only thing I saw was the text from AJ and you, and then I looked it up, and it was high wind warnings, high wind advisories, potential fire risk and all that. And so then nothing until I think someone texted us at like 10 a.m. the next day and told us that there was something happening up in the Palisades Highlands. And from our front yard, we can see up there. So we went to the front yard and we could literally see the flames up from our front door. And then the planes started coming in before the wind got too crazy and we're dumping water over like directly over our house and dumping water. Um, Obviously didn't totally work, but for a while there, we were just kind of trying to pack some stuff up. Melissa was packing up all of our, invaluable, like, just precious things that she wanted to take with us. And the whole time I was saying, go, like, stop, get in the car and leave. And for me, I was in New Orleans during Katrina. So I've been through kind of like, losing everything from a disaster and realized that stuff is just stuff, right? Like you pack up
Mm.
what you need to, but you just get out, you stay safe. And so finally she got in the car with our daughter about 20 minutes before me, and I took our dog. And before I left, I was trying to hose off our backyard and looking across the way from our backyard. And now there's flames engulfing that whole hillside. And then the other direction, there's flames all around. And we finally got in the car, and I was about 20 minutes behind Melissa, and our cell phones were jammed. So we're trying to get out, and we're in bumper to bumper traffic on Sunset, and just not moving. And smoke is insane, like filling up the car with smoke. Uh, which of course is because I had the setting on that like is sucking in air from outside.
You didn't have like the recycle, the
Yeah,
inside
yeah.
air.
It was like
Yeah.
3 hours later that I got out of town that I actually realized I had the wrong button on, so my car was a freaking smoke inferno. Long story short, I ended up getting a hold of Melissa's dad, who could get a hold of Melissa, but the two of us couldn't contact each other. So I told him to basically tell her to flip a U-turn and go down some path to get to PCH easier that I wasn't able to do because of the traffic that I was in. It was both directions. For her, it was only one direction. So she got out of there a little bit before me. I was in traffic for like 2.5 hours to go about a half a mile. And then, yeah, we ended up at Melissa's sister's house in Marina Del Rey at Elise's place.
I mean, it's so crazy because, like, I mean, I lived in California for almost 10 years, and like fires are just part of living there.
Yeah.
Like you're used to it. Like fires happen all the time. You hear about it's part of the lifestyle. But I think, because I mean, when I lived in Glendale at one point, I remember going on my balcony and there was
Oh,
a
yeah.
fire in Griffith Park, and like the flames, like I could see the fire, but I was like, oh, that's way far away. That's like 2 freeways away. It's so like you don't panic yet. But for this, I feel like it went from like 0 to 60 so fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was crazy. There were stories about people that were ditching their cars and leaving their cars in the street and walking. And that was the intersection where that was happening was directly below our backyard. So we could see people. Before I left, I was seeing people get out of their cars and leaving. And then I thought about it. I was with I had the dog in the car, but there was like an hour where I didn't move a foot. And I'm like, do I just leave my car and take the dog and walk to safety?
But
And
that's almost worse because then it's like these
yeah,
then you really stop traffic because
oh
then
yeah,
traffic
for
can't
sure.
move at all. So it's
Yeah.
like,
They had to
fuck.
come back, I think, for those people, they took bulldozers and bulldozed the cars to the side so that, people up in the Highlands could get out. And for us too, like Melissa, you know, to make a pretty terrible situation worse, was in the middle of a miscarriage at the time. So she started her miscarriage, I think, like a few days before the fire, and it wasn't like done yet. So she's, got her daughter in the car going through that, smoke everywhere. Our daughter's wailing in the back seat because she doesn't know what's happening and she smells the smoke and she can't move. And so it was just that those few hours were absolutely insane.
And like, how long would you say you had until like you found out you started packing, and then like
Yeah,
how long was it until you were like you got to go
we knew right away that we needed to kind of get packed and moving. We were From the time we saw the flames until we were out of the house was maybe 45 minutes.
to try to
Um,
pack up your whole life?
yeah, probably like a half hour, and then even that felt like we were kind of late to the game. A lot of people stuck around and didn't follow the orders and stayed around longer. And those that I know personally were okay. I think 12 folks died, over 6,000 structures burned. And it's like there's so much to this about just navigating a disaster like a fire. What do you do, and how does it work, and how does the fire itself impact you? But there's also components too of like the community, right? Of the Palisades was where I grew up, and Altadena, I'm sure there's a similar vibe out there where it's like, how do you deal with the community coming back in the aftermath, and how special those communities were to the people who lived there? So
It's so crazy. And then like, like you said, stuff is just stuff, but it also there's memories, there's things, so like when you have that 45 minutes or whatever, like what do you grab? Like what comes to mind to like what's the important things to pack up?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it was mainly, you know, things from our wedding, things from our family, keepsakes, like our daughter, she was only 2 at the time, so a lot of, you know, precious things of her, like baby books and, you know, little things that we wanted her to continue to have, and for us, it was like our wedding vows. For Melissa, it was had a lot better head on her shoulders as far as what to get. I was literally of the mindset of like, I want to, you guys are my precious things. I want to get you out.
Right,
And
right.
she was more focused on some of the stuff. We were fortunate enough that the house didn't, you know, burn down completely. So everything that's in there that um, is hard as far as like has a non-porous surface was salvageable. But all of our clothes, all the furniture, all that stuff is just toast. And we were lucky enough that our house didn't burn. So we have that ability to go back and get things that were precious to us and try to get them cleaned or whatever. But, you know, my dad lost his house, my uncle lost his house, tons of friends and family, all just like completely gone. We had a friend that was in the hospital giving birth to their second kid on the night of the 6th, and their house was a few blocks away from us, and they lost everything. So it's just, you know, it's tough as far as what you pack. I mean, it's like you realize that your list of things that you think are so important to you, if you think that they would all be gone, it's like it is just stuff. So there's only really a handful, at least from my perspective, of things that are like must haves. And Melissa obviously remembered a few days later that there was a few things that she wished she got. So I went up there on an e-bike on Thursday, 2 days after the fire, and we had to like a friend of mine and I had to kind of sneak past the cops to get into the fire zone on electric bikes, and we were you know, going over and under burnt telephone wires and just like there's still flames burning everywhere. And we finally got to our place, and we didn't even know at that time that it was still standing. And that was when we realized that both of our homes on the same street were still there. And they were, you know, like I said, 2 of 5 homes that were still there. So I go into the house and it's smoky as hell. There's still fires in the backyard that we're trying to put out, and then things like Melissa had a baby blanket of hers and some, you know, childhood memory boxes of things that were just very precious to her when she was a kid. So I grabbed that and got it out of there, took it into a bag, and, you know, got out.
I mean, and then so you're on a bike. Like it's not like you can take a ton of stuff. You had to
No,
like
yeah,
put it
just
in
a
like a sack and like put it over your shoulder.
Yeah, yeah, it was like a Nike bag where, like, the 2 handles I just threw on as a backpack almost and just carried it out, but, like, that was an insane journey where it was probably, you know, 5 hours of from leaving where we started on the e-bikes to where we got back to our car, where it was like the aftermath was almost so bad that it looked like apocalyptic video game type of scenario where everything is gone, things are still burning, there's no one in the town, and it was just, like, almost so bad that it was numbing, I guess, you know, like
Mhm.
you see 1 or 2 homes maybe burning, I think it probably would have made me cry, but seeing everything, it was so surreal that it just made me kind of just numb to it. You just kinda keep
It's like you can't
existing.
even process. It's too
Yeah,
much to like take
right.
all that in. I
Yeah,
remember just seeing the photos and it was like whole like, and the hard thing is like if you're not living it and you're not there, it's in the news, but then the news moves on.
yeah,
So like
yeah,
these people, like it was horrible, but then these people, you hear about it and then they move on and they're on to the next thing and it's whatever. But when you're living it and it's your life and it's all like those photos, I remember when those photos came out. I mean, it was like, yeah, like you said, apocalyptic. It looked like a movie.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
remember the photos of your guys' house. I'm pretty sure wasn't Melissa like putting the Christmas tree away?
Yeah, she had put some ornaments away. The tree is still standing in our house a year and 2 days later or whatever. The Christmas tree is still in there.
So your house has still been untouched.
Yeah, basically, we're dealing with the insurance company as far as the items that are still in there are items that we're claiming are ruined, you know, total loss, and we're dealing with them, waiting to get them to approve that those items are indeed ruined before we clean the rest of the house out and get rid of everything.
Wow. Yeah, because I think it's like you said, you got to go back and get some of those things, which was great. But is there a part of you where it almost would have been easy, insurance wise and like logistics and money wise? Would it have been easier if the house would have just burnt?
Yeah, there's an element of that for sure. I think that it's hard when you know so many people whose homes did burn
Hmm.
that I would never want to be in their shoes, right? That's one thing that's so hard about this whole situation is that there are so many people who are impacted in different ways that there's almost like levels of grief, but also guilt about feeling grief because you know that other people were impacted in a more severe way than you.
Right.
So some of your friends or family have had it, you know, worse, and then you feel bad for feeling sorry for yourself because you know that it could have been worse. But I
Well,
would
it's like
never.
you can't like it's almost like you can't compare your your trauma to someone else's because it's like
Right.
even though you all went through it, but it's like everything's going to mean different things to different people. And of course, I mean,
Totally.
that's anything in life. You know what I mean? Like you can sit and be sad, but then you can be like, well, there's people that are dying of this or people, like, you can compare anything to anything and someone always, I'm sure, has it better, has it worse. But
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the tough part here though is that you're most of the people that are the most comfortable to speak to are people who have been through something similar, so friends from the Palisades, family from the Palisades, right? And then you hear them, for us, some of them who lost everything and didn't have a chance to get anything out. And then
mhm,
you don't really feel appropriate saying, "Oh, woe is me, our home's still standing and we could get at least a few things out of there." But,
right,
you're back to your question, from a logistics standpoint, I think it would have absolutely been easier as far as dealing with insurance companies and whatnot if everything had burned.
right.
We have to go through a process of itemizing every single thing in our home that is destroyed or that's a total loss, and not only itemizing it, but listing how much it cost and how old it was. So every single item needs to have an age next to it and like some
Yeah.
master spreadsheet, and all that. So,
Yeah.
um,
I went through that because our house burnt down,
yeah,
my childhood house. I was living in LA at the time. And I'll never forget, I was at lunch with my friend Ruby. We were in West Hollywood, and my mom kept calling me over and over, and I kept declining. I'm like, I'm at lunch. Like, I'll call her back later. And that's very normal for my mom. Like, if I don't answer, she just keeps calling. Like, so that
yeah,
didn't necessarily like trigger me to be like, oh, this is an emergency. And she kept calling. And then, so I'm sitting at lunch, and she just sent me a video of the house on fire. And I
jeez,
remember I looked down and I was like, holy fuck. And for me, like, fortunately for me, I mean, majority of my stuff was in California with me, but I mean, all my childhood stuff, our house burnt, and we had a all wood house. Our house was gone in 12 minutes, and it was a huge. I mean, it was a big house, like a really big house. And yeah, 12 minutes. My mom was home, and we kind of it was kind of. I mean, this it was like a smart house before smart houses. You know what I mean? Like this is way
yeah,
before like everyone had like a smart house, but it was like there was always something going off. There's always a bell. There's always something dinging. Like something was always pretty much broken because there was so much electronics, and it was 2010. So my mom heard this like noise, so she went upstairs and she opened her bathroom, and she was like, "Oh, the noise is coming from downstairs." And she opened up where the fire was, and the fire was contained. But when she opened up the door, like it let all the oxygen in, and the whole like she's lucky she didn't like pass out from smoke inhalation.
right,
But
right,
then the whole house just, like, because as soon as she opened the door, like, the fire just blew. But it was a total loss. I mean, she got the dog out and my stepdad out, and she was able to back the vehicles out of the garage, and that was it.
wow,
But in their house, they were underinsured. So I remember she sent me these forms. So I remember filling out, like, what did you have? How much did it cost? How old was it? Like, and you have to sit and think about every item you have in your house,
yeah, yeah. I think the
which
underinsurance thing is a big thing too, right? Like the way that they go through insuring homes now too is also it's weird how it works, right? Like our home was built in the 1960s and it's an amazing house, great property, great lot, but it's an older home. So when they insure you, they talk about the quality of the house that they're insuring today. So they think, 1960s house, it's like, middle level construction or whatever, right? So then they value it at the current value, which is nowhere near what the replacement value would be. Like if your
right.
home burns down and it was built in the 60s and they think it's worth $350 a square foot, you cannot rebuild that home for $350 a square foot. So you're going to be underinsured unless you just, actually
Especially in
think.
Los Angeles.
Yeah, in LA now, I mean, homes in the Palisades are going up and they're 900 to $1,100 a square foot to build now. And so we were massively underinsured as well. And I think a lot of people were, especially folks that bought their home in the Palisades who came there because of, an amazing village and town and whatnot in like the 70s and 80s and 90s. And they stretched themselves thin to be able to buy a home there. And they've been there now for 30, 40 years and watched the home value appreciate, but their insurance policy may not have caught up with, building prices and inflation and all that. So a
Right.
lot
I
of
mean,
these
that was probably
people.
people's retirement. That was their legacy. That was what they were going to leave their family. Like, there's so many, yeah, horrible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, do you think that, like, because remind me, did you had just remodeled or you were going to remodel?
No, we did not yet. We were going to. We had been in the process for since we bought the home. We had met with an architect. We had gotten permits started and all that. And we were about to start
I mean,
in
thank
Feb.
God you didn't.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So we were going to start like a massive remodel in February, and very grateful we did not.
Yeah. Because I remember you guys when you guys got that house, you were like, we bought the house for the view. Like, the view
Yeah,
was
yeah.
insane. And you're like,
We
well,
bought it for the fact that, like, yeah, we're in our late 30s and we bought a house in the Palisades, which is hard to do. And so like the only way we could do that was to find a very old house that needed a lot of work.
Mhm. So as you're, right now I know you're living down in Orange County, but is your goal then to go back to that property, or what do you think is your plan with that?
Yeah, I think that's our goal for now. Still is, it's hard, right? Like, I think Melissa has told me that she, ever since she lived in LA, always wanted to live in the Palisades. And for me, it's where I was born and raised. And getting back there was so special. And I think that, everyone's immediate reaction was, we're coming back. We're going to rebuild. We're going to, remodel, whatever. We're coming back. And now what I've seen over the last year has been that most people with very strong ties to the community, like people that I grew up with that live there, or people that have been there for a long time, are still very gung ho about going back. Others, we've got friends from Gemma's school that are more new to the area, and other people that don't have as strong a ties, I think, are a little more kind of like, what, we're out. We don't want to deal with that again. It's going to be a nightmare to rebuild. But there's something really special about the town and the people and all that make me still think that it's where we want to end up, and want to be part of the recovery and want to be. I mean, we don't necessarily want to live there right now because we don't think it's the safest, and everyone's got different thoughts on that. But for us with two young kids, I don't know how safe it is to be living there. But
Right.
the goal
But
now is
eventually
to,
it will bounce back.
yeah, it'll bounce back, and our goal is to, do our remodel once the town starts to come back a little more, and then maybe in a few years we're back there. But I don't think we really know clarity on timeline. But the goal is to be back.
But as of now, like for now, could you drive there? Is it easy? Can you go to your house and drive there? Or is everything still blocked off? Or like how does
No, we
I
can go. Yeah,
you
it's
can
all
go
it's
there?
all open now to anybody. They say they have like license checking machines that make sure people are not because a lot of people have homes like us that are still standing that I think people are concerned with the open access about safety and security.
Hmm.
Pushing plates, but anybody can go into the Palisades now, and when you do it's insane. Even now, still you see some rebuilding happening, but driving through is still like it's devastating.
Well, that's like our other friends, like the Runnions and the Duns. Their house surprisingly also stayed standing when the whole street, burned. And
Yeah,
they ended up buying new houses because they were like, okay, by the time, like even though our house is still standing, it's going to be a construction zone here for, who knows how many more years. Plus, like the smoke in the house and clearing everything out. I think there's just so many factors to it that people, again, unless it's your reality, people aren't thinking about that.
yeah, no, for sure.
Wow. Well, was Melissa able to get her designer handbags out?
I think we went back for those, so those went
That's
through.
an that's an important one because we had
Yeah,
just remember we had just got the
I think she took the Chanel bag with us
yeah, because her
when we
and
were.
Elise both bought those Chanel bags in Paris, and I was like,
Yeah,
she probably hadn't even used it yet because I mean it was only a couple months
no,
old.
right, right. She
So
got
she
that
did
out.
get her bags out.
I think so. That was on the short list. I don't think she got all of them out when we left, but I know that there were a handful that we went back for that have been through like a smoke restoration process.
Look, I know that that sounds so like first world problems and whatever, but like those bags, they're really expensive. A lot of them are one of a kind, and there was like so many memories attached to them. And like I don't know,
Right.
I feel like a girl in their handbags. It's like it's a thing.
It's a thing, but that one in particular is more than that, right? That was a bag that she got with some of her best friends. You and AJ were in the store, I think, when they were picking them out.
Yeah.
Like we were in Paris for a very special occasion. Like that bag is always going to evoke those memories of like that trip in Paris.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well, I mean, first and foremost glad that everyone was safe, including the dog,
Yeah.
because that was also one of the saddest things. I was thinking about all those pets,
No,
because I
it's
do think most of the people got out, most. And I do think, most people also had warning and they had enough time to get out. But I think of people like that were at work or they were on vacation or they were
yeah,
couldn't get back. And then it's like all those pets that I'm like, that it like broke.
yeah.
I mean, that was awful.
Totally. Well, at the time too, Melissa was supposed to be taking Gemma that morning to a dance class, but to make matters even more fun, Gemma had RSV that morning. She woke up with like a crazy
Jesus.
cough and like a lung, RSV thing. So she stayed home with Gemma. I was supposed to be in the office that day, and for whatever reason, I decided I'm going to work from home that day. And so, like, if I were in Century City and Melissa were out at that dance class, our dog would have been alone, and we would
Right.
not have been able to get back to get our dog.
See that,
So,
like, thank God everything I mean, I didn't want Gemma to have RSV, but thank God
right.
everything thank God she did because, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, everything lined up so that, the poor dog
No,
wasn't left
absolutely.
behind because that would
And
be horrible.
yeah, for sure. And also, like, with the whole fire and everything that happened and whatnot, it was such an example of friends and family and community coming together. I mean, I know people have talked about this at length over the last year, but the amount of people that showed up and just, and said, "How can we help? We're here for you." People not even trying to, like sympathize, but more just empathize. People realized that we were going through it, and everybody came out of the woodwork to help. And like, it was just a masterclass in what community really is, whether that's community of where you actually live or the community that makes up your network of people. It was amazing.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I remember us, you felt helpless because I'm like,
Yeah.
"What we're all the way in Texas, like, what are we gonna" I think we reached out, but I was like, "What are we gonna like, what can we" there's nothing we can do
Yeah.
in that moment, you know what I mean? Like, it was all happening so fast, and it was
No,
just
for
like
sure.
it was I remember sitting here being like, it was you, the Runyons, and the Duns, and I'm just like, what the fuck?" And, vintage grocers even, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, there's all this stuff that all of our friends have ties to certain things, and I'm like, "God, this is just, like, crazy."
Yeah, well, I mean, I was a little bit disappointed because you and I we're a similar height, and I was in, Target and at clothes for a few weeks, and I thought that there was going to be some designer clothes from Ben's wardrobe coming my way. But
Right, right. I mean, a lot of my clothes is from, like, H&M and Forever 21.
yeah, yeah,
But, yeah, I suppose we are you're a lot thinner than I am, though.
not anymore. I mean, Melissa and I were kind of pound for pound on her pregnancy run.
Pound for pound.
Yeah, she gained some weight with the baby, and I gained it too. I didn't want to make her feel bad, but the
No, you're
problem
like,
is,
"Look, we're in this together."
yeah, and then when the baby was born, though, she lost it, and I still have it. So
Oh, shit.
I'm seeing a trainer, but I still look like a pear. It's embarrassing.
Well, when I did my episode, the one that came out, it was with my trainer.
Ah,
I'm
nice.
not but I don't work out with him anymore. Yeah,
You had a
it's
falling
alright.
out?
Not necessarily falling out. He was just very, very intense, and I think I was not quite committed
Yeah.
enough to his like, I wanna, like, work out, and then I wanna eat what I want, and I wanna go drink, and I wanna party, and I'm gonna do what I wanna do, whereas
Yeah.
he's much more like, he wants to train people that wanna be, like, doing competitions and that, like,
Yeah.
live, breathe, eat this, and I'm like, "Can I just take some Ozempic and then, like, I don't know, do a SoulCycle class?"
Oh, yeah. I'm in a similar boat as far as, Melissa and I had a trainer when we were getting ready for our wedding, and this guy was so aggro, amazing trainer, amazing guy, but, like, it was not sustainable for, like, the guy that you see on a ongoing basis. It was okay
Yeah,
for a 3-month spurt, but, it's just, I'm never gonna be that guy. Like, I go into the gym, and if someone is on me saying, like, "Yeah, let's go, Grant, let's go," it's like, it's not gonna resonate. I'm gonna
no.
do something until I'm tired, and then I'm gonna stop doing it.
Yeah, and I'd rather be, like, a little chubbier and happy and have fun than, like, ripped and miserable.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you.
You know what I mean? Like, I wanna eat what I wanna eat, and I wanna drink, and I wanna be fit, and I wanna be healthy, but I'm not when I was with my trainer, it was like I had to meal prep, I had to log everything I was eating. It was
Yeah.
like 3 hours a day of working out when you included, like, the stretching, the post-stretching, the warm up, the cool down, the actual workout, like, it was so I was like, "I can't do this."
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any of those? Do you wear a device like a Aura Ring or like a Whoop or one of those things?
So I had a Aura ring at one point and this stuff, but then I was like, this is this and like the Apple Watch and shit. But I was like, this is so stupid because who gives a flying shit? Like,
Right.
what am I gonna do? Go in my app and be like, okay, so on May 1st of 2023, I burned 1,200 calories
Yeah, yeah. Well,
because I was
I
logging all that shit. But then I was like, but who
right.
cares? Like, what's the
Well,
fucking
it's like
point?
I think that those need to have like different attitudes that they can have where you can choose like how aggressive they are with you.
Right.
Because I feel like those things after like a night of like after a night where you get after it, if you're wearing your Oura Ring, like and it says your recovery is at like a 3%, there should be a filter where you can allow that it to just like shame you. Where it's like
Yeah.
the Oura Ring tells you like you need to get your shit together, dude.
Right.
Like,
Like fucking work harder.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I had the one too, and it would like track your sleep. And I was like, okay, who needs to wake up in the morning and be like, hey, babe, just so you know, I got 24 minutes of REM sleep.
Right.
It's gonna be a good day. Like what? Like who cares?
Right.
So I don't know. I think that stuff is all some kind of like marketing scam that these people feel like they're being fit and healthy because they're tracking their heart rate. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I can't get on board with that.
I hear you.
All right. So now is the point in this episode where we get into breaking point. So this is the point in the episode where we're going to rant and bitch and complain, and it can be about anything big, anything small, and then we're going to try to talk through it and let that shit go.
Okay.
So I'm going to let you go first.
All right. I will go first. Let's see. My breaking point this week was circling back to the fires. Immediately after the fire, my mortgage company reached out to me. We told them that we didn't know if our house survived. We had an issue. We lived in the Palisades, and they said, "Okay, do you want to pause your payments?" And I said, absolutely. So they gave us 3 months of essentially forbearance on our mortgage where we didn't have to pay our mortgage. And on the phone, initially, they said that however long you elect to stay in this, which you can go up to a year, at the end of the year, you'll resume your payments again. And then they'll tack on a year to the end of your loan, which for us ends in 2051. So instead of maturing in 2051, it will mature in 2052.
Okay, makes
Now that
sense.
we're a year out, now that we're a year out, they're telling me that the entirety of those 12 months will be due on February 1st, which was my breaking point of this year. And in order to have it not be due on February 1st, which is not an insignificant amount of money, we have to do a full on, deep dive into our tax returns, our bank account statements, our pay stubs for Melissa and me. And we have to have a hardship letter where we explain what happened as if the company does not know that the Palisades fire occurred. So we're currently navigating that in an effort to try to not have 12 months of payments due on February 1st.
Okay, so here would be I mean, that's fucking crazy. What would be the point of this is where this doesn't make sense. So they're like, okay, they told you originally you don't have to pay. You can defer it up to a year, but then we add it on to the end, which makes
Yeah,
complete sense. I'm
right.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
At what point, let's just say, I'm just going to make this up. Let's say your mortgage is $1,000 a month. I'm just doing this for easy math. So now instead of paying $1,000 a month, they're like, okay, you're going to have to pay $12,000 at one time. So you still have to save that money for the whole year. It would have been easier to just keep making the payments than to
Yeah,
save
exactly.
some big chunk of money. So that like you really didn't help anyone out. You just gave me an opportunity to have to try to save money versus spend monthly payment. Like
Correct.
that makes zero sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, that definitely would be my breaking point too. I would come unhinged on those people.
Yeah. Yeah. What was your breaking point?
My breaking point is so this week, well, a month ago, I got scammed. I bought fish and coral online and I got scammed by this company that called me and they hacked this company's phone number. So when they called me, it showed up on the phone as the company. They called me and addressed me by my first name. They had my order number, they had my address, my tracking number, they had all my stuff. So at what point would I think this is not legitimately the company? And they got me on a Zelle scam, and basically I Zelled them $1,000, and I'm trying to get my money back. And when you Zelle money, you're pretty much fucked.
Yeah.
So I've been going back and forth with Wells Fargo, and I've called them like 5 times, and I've told the same story, and I've talked to the top people, and then their manager, and then their manager, and I basically talked to whoever's last name is fucking Wells Fargo, and they were like, yeah, yeah, all good. And I've been waiting. I've just like, can I please submit my proof? I'm like, I have screenshots. They have all this like proof. I have screenshots from the company. I have all this stuff to submit. And they just keep sending me like letters being like, we've reviewed your case. Unfortunately, blah, 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 case closed. So I had to call them again this week and they were like, we've closed the case. And I'm like, no, you have not. So I'm like, we need to reopen the case. So I've reopened the case for the third time. And Wells Fargo has hit my breaking point. Fuck them.
Was it a phishing scam? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. New child have to have
Yeah,
the terrible
the
dad
dad
jokes.
jokes. Yeah, the dad jokes. I mean, I know it's only $1,000, but I want my fucking $1,000 back. It's the
Yeah.
principal. And the
Absolutely.
stupid bitch that called me that was so sweet and nice, who obviously she was nice because she's a scam artist.
Right.
And she was like, no, no, sir. And I'm like, I hope she gets like, I don't know, genital warts.
Who are you more perturbed by? The scammer, the coral and fish company, or Wells Fargo?
Wells Fargo, because the coral and fish company, it's not their fault. Like they're just like company that got hacked by these people.
Yeah.
The scammers, like they're just assholes. Like this is what
Yeah,
they do. So I'm
they're
like,
just doing their job.
yeah, like that they're doing their job. They're assholes. They
Yeah.
do this all the time. But what's annoying is Wells Fargo, Wells Fargo and Zelle. Because I called them 3 minutes. Like literally, I hung up with the scammers and I called Wells Fargo immediately. You can't tell me there's not some way to stop that transaction from going through.
Right. Right.
Like I know wire transfers are pretty quick and immediate, but there has to be some way they can like stop it. Or usually when you do it, it's like pending.
Right.
So there has to be some way where they can stop a transaction, revert it, pause it,
Yeah.
pause it until they do, finish their research. There has to be some fucking way.
Right.
And then also like running me through the hoops and all the stuff. Like, no, Wells Fargo and Zelle fucked
So
themselves.
I feel like season 2 of It's Been a Week is not going to have a little pop up that says "Brought to you by Zelle."
Maybe they'll want to pay me my thousand
Yeah.
dollars and they can be a
They can make
sponsor.
it, yeah, they can make it right by
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you listening,
Or
Zelle? Are you listening, Wells Fargo? This would be a
yeah,
great
exactly.
advertising opportunity for you.
Or you just try to find a way to do a new side hustle where you scam others and just, you make it even that way.
That is true. I could try to scam someone else. Well, look, I mean, shitty situation, but I'm glad that you guys are all safe. I'm glad
Thank
that
you.
you have a house to live in now. I'm glad that you have a new addition to your family. And I hope
Thank you.
that, your house gets rebuilt and the community comes back and someday you'll look back on this and it will, you know, just be far in the past.
Absolutely. And thanks for having me on. I think it's really cool what you're doing on the podcast. And send my love to AJ as well and hope to see you guys soon.
All right. Thanks for being another straight guy on this podcast. There we go. All right, everyone. For everyone else, I'll see you next Tuesday.
Hey, wait. I got something to say.
You're here again? All right, let's do it. Okay, everyone, get ready for the after show. Been there, done that with AJ. And here we are. Been there, done that with AJ. Look at you're starting off right first at the beginning episode, and here you are.
Hey, you know what? I understand that people want the been there, done that with AJ.
Okay, we'll give the people what they want.
No, but I mean, I really appreciate it. Everyone's like, where you been? I missed you. Like towards the end of last year, I didn't get to do a lot of these. So
Yeah.
we're back.
Well-
We are back again.
Well, welcome back to Been There, Done That with AJ.
Okay, how much do we love Greg?
He's the he's the dry. If you don't know him, like his sense of humor is so dry, but his delivery is so
He is
funny.
First of all, he's so funny, but I do think it comes a lot just from this intelligence that he has. I mean, he's a really successful attorney, and you can tell when he speaks that he's really not only intentional with his words, but so deliberate with what he says. I love it.
And his jokes are quick, even though they might be dad jokes.
I
they're quick.
I know, but you didn't even give him enough on that dad joke. The one that he made when it was about fishing.
Was it a fishing scam?
Yes, that's so funny. Like, because it was connected to your fish and you got scammed by the fish people. Like, that
Yes.
shit's funny. And you were like, Like, I was like, why did you laugh more? I loved that one. And then when he also was talking about the scammers and he said something like, yeah, I mean, I guess, like, he was asking you who you were more upset with, like the fish store, the scammers, or Wells Fargo.
Yeah,
And he was like, I mean, the scammers are just doing their job. And it's like,
kind of true.
yeah,
Like
like
that-
they're just doing their job.
I mean, they're assholes, but their job is to scam people.
Yeah, and they clearly did it well because little does everyone know, no, Ben,
It's so bad.
you gave money to these people, but
Twice.
it wasn't just one lump sum.
No, I did it twice. I did it twice on the same phone call with two different representatives.
I know, and I understand, and like I'm not laughing at you. I
No,
know.
it's fine. Like the first one is like, oh, shame on them. The second one, it's like, Ben, what the fuck were you doing?
I know, but it's like they do such a good job that you believe it.
The lady was so sweet. She was so, I'm like, there's no way this lady's a scam artist. She's like, sir, we have been in business for over 20 years. This is just how we do it. You trust me. And I'm like, okay. And there's something about when it's a female on there. Of course, I don't know.
But that's crazy because you know these fish people. I feel like you know them like they're your friends. You talk to them so much.
Well, this is going to sound like whatever, but it's not like they sounded like they were from a different country or like that I was like,
Oh, you mean like the scammers, like because we
Yes,
associate. I understand.
like, yeah, when you get like, when they misspell things or they're speaking, like this lady was very like, sounded like she lived down the street.
She probably does.
Probably fucking does.
She probably does.
Probably just made her car payment.
Well, listen, I hope you get some money back from Wells Fargo. I know
It's
you're
not
fighting
looking
them.
great.
I know. Well,
Not looking great.
they're probably like, you did it twice.
I know. And I'm like, I've reopened the case.
At least they could give it to you once.
I know. I'm like, can I just get one? Can I get half of it back? Give me $500. We'll call it good. I mean, they literally have closed the case 3 times, and I keep going, well, I'd like to reopen it. So I just keep I'm like, how many times can I reopen the case? But like,
Probably as many as you want, but it doesn't mean they're going to change it.
I'm like, take another look at it.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Greg is amazing. He's so funny. Like he just is, he's got this wit about him that I love. And you did not give him enough laughter. So I'm going to
I think some of it got cut, but we were laughing.
Okay. Well, I'm happy that they're doing really well. I'm excited to meet their new baby boy. I can't believe it's been a year since the
fire
devastation, like
know.
all across LA,
Mhm.
like from the Palisades all the way over to Altadena near Pasadena, like so many of our friends were affected. I know you were naming like a few on our mutual friends, but then I have other friends, people that I worked with. whether it was in music at one point or at Yahoo, that lost their homes.
But that's what I was telling him, is that I'm like, it was, big news for a week, but then like the world kind of moved on. Like we haven't talked about it in a long time, but they're still living it. They're still having to deal with it, which I think is shitty. That like, I mean, it's the way the world, but the world moves on. There's other things happening in the news, and it's like if it doesn't directly affect you, I feel like it just kind of goes away.
Well, you know what? I think for people in LA, it's still pretty real, right? Because like there are numerous backyards all around them.
Right.
And like, as you said, fires are constantly a thing. And I think, right now, I feel like there was something about, this is the first time they haven't been in a drought in however many years.
They got all that rain.
Yeah, but like that's obviously causing problems because of mudslides and all the things. But like,
or California.
I know, best place ever though. But I think for people who are there, yes, for those that don't live close, it probably was this mega moment that moved on.
Yeah.
For us, because our friends were so affected by it, we've still, I think, been a little bit closer to what it is because of people having to move their lives and find new homes and change their everything up. Like even other friends that we have that like we're not as close with, like still on social media, you saw what they went through. So, but I think people living in LA, a lot of them got out and helped, which was incredible. Like going out and supporting different organizations by bringing in clothes or bringing in food. I mean, I remember at one point there were so many organizations being like, stop bringing us stuff because like they couldn't get it out to people quick enough.
Right.
Which is just wild,
It's like a good problem to have.
Yeah. But I know you talked about your familiarity with your house. Like I heard Greg talk about Katrina, and he, I think, was in New Orleans, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Was he at Tulane? Is that where he went to school? Maybe. I think so. But I, was affected by Hurricane Katrina in Miami, and no one believed me because everyone focused on New Orleans. Right. So like I lost everything. The tree fell on this cottage that I was living in the middle of the storm. I like grabbed my dog and my computer and my LSAT book because I was thinking of law school at the time and like ran out into the hurricane because there was water just like pouring in. It flooded. It was wild. And similar with fire, water is scary too. Like,
oh yeah, sometimes they say water is worse than fire, like more damaging.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like obviously I was safe enough to be able to get out, but like if you're in a flash flood and stuff, like think about what happened this year with those floods like south of us, like that is
natural disasters are scary.
Yeah,
and there's nothing you can do, and it affects so many people at the same time. Whether it's tornadoes, hurricanes, fires.
Yeah. But interestingly, like he said, at the end of the day, it's just stuff.
Right.
And like, I really loved how he talked about, precious things and like wanting to make sure you get your precious things. And to him, his precious things were his wife and his daughter. And I love that about Greg. He's such a good person.
He is.
So it was really nice to hear him on there. And I love the diversity that you're creating, bringing on your second straight man.
Well, I do need more straight people.
Yeah.
It's like girls and gays on here.
Yeah, but I think like...
And there's a lot of straight people that listen to this podcast. I think a majority, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe you should do a poll.
We'll do a little poll. What's your sexuality? No, I mean, I always thought my demographic would be girls and gays, but there's actually a lot of straight men that listen to this that even at times I'm like, really? You listen to this? But they do.
Well, you got some good topics. And like, I know you referenced how at the beginning of this, it was all just meant to be humorous and light. And like, it's definitely grown so far from that. Like there's so much depth in a lot of the conversations, which is good. Like, it's still fun to like make laughter around shitty things, which I think is something that you do. But you've obviously, gone deeper with people, which is exciting.
Well, I think in the beginning I was like, oh, it's just going to be funny and lighthearted. But like, I'm not a stand-up comedian where I'm just sitting here like running my jokes all the time. So yeah, I think there's, I've had people from all different backgrounds and stories, and it's kind of crazy. But we always seem to bring light to it, even in shitty situations.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. So what's on the agenda for the rest of this week?
Well, I got to go get ready because I've got to get to the barrel race.
Ooh, we're getting on a horse.
It's perfect horse riding weather for Ben because I don't like to sweat and I don't like to freeze. And it's like, it's kind of at that weather where you maybe could wear a sweater, you maybe don't have to, but it's like, It's not too cold, but it's also not the dead of the summer where I.
When it's so cold out, do you still sweat?
Yes.
I know.
Yes, I do.
Well, I think that's your body trying to stay warm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a sweater and I don't like the feel. I hate like wearing jeans and like boots and then like you're sweating like in the heat of the summer when it's like 120 fucking degrees and it feels like, you know, Satan says sat his asshole on Texas. Like I don't like that. I don't like when my clothes stick to me. It makes me feel gross. I don't like when I have to shower 3 times a day. Like I'd much rather have a little bit of sweat weather.
Okay, well, can't wait to go. I know I'm going to have to go as well because I need to sit there and record.
Yes, you're my sidekick.
I always am your sidekick.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because Bob is doing his thing. And for those that don't know Bob is our baby horse.
Who has quite the story. Someday we'll have to tell that story.
Yes, you got to tell them about Bob.
Because Bob has...
I mean, I need to help tell it because I was there when the moment happened when he got hurt.
From the moment of...
We did the gender reveal.
We had a gender reveal
we got to tell them the whole story.
The whole trying to get him to even be on Earth.
Yeah.
Okay. Been there, done that. First one of the 2026. Here we go. All right, everyone. I'll see you next Tuesday.